Welcome students. So today we will discuss the process of neurulation. The process of neurulation, it begins in the middle of the third week of development when the ectoderm in the midline of the dorsal surface of the embryonic disc becomes thickened to form an elongated plate known as the neural plate. Now this neural plate will form the nervous system of the body. So neurulation basically is the process of formation of neural tube from the ectoderm of the embryo. So this is the process of formation of neural tube from the ectoderm of the embryo, and it occurs in all vertebrates. Now, after gastrulation, the notochord, a flexible rod-shaped body that runs along the back of the embryo, has been formed from the mesoderm, if you remember from your previous lectures. The ectoderm overlying the newly formed notochord thickens in the midline, forming the neural plate under the induction of this notochord at about 16th day of embryonic life, that is the mid of the third week. As somatic mesoderm develops on either side of the notochord, the margins of the neural plate are elevated as neural folds, and as a result, the center of the plate sinks, creating the neural. Here you can see that this is the surface ectoderm and this is the notochord. Under the induction of notochord to the surface ectoderm, here it thickens and form the neural plate. On 20th day, the neural folds fusion begins and gradually it moves together towards the midline and finally fuse together towards the midline and finally fuse to form a cylindrical tube that loses its connection with the surface ectoderm. So here you can see the neural groove, neural plate, the neural groove and neural groove sinking inwards and detaching from the surface ectoderm to form the, and the folds they unite and form the neural tube that loses its connection with the surface ectoderm. The process of neural tube formation termed neurulation. Now the fusion of the neural folds begins in the middle and it simultaneously proceeds in the cephalic and caudal direction. So if this is the neural tube, the closure of the neural tube, neural folds, it begins in the middle one, then in the cephalic direction and then in the caudal direction. So the tube is closed initially in the middle part of the neural groove, then it is closed in the cephalic part and then in the caudal part. In the third week of development, when the ectoderm in the midline of the dorsal surface of embryonic disc becomes thickened, it forms the neural plate. Here you can see the neural plate. This plate is expanded in the cranial region but tapers gradually. Here you can see that it is expanded in the cranial region but it tapers gradually. Caudally, the ectoderm forming the neural plate is referred to as neuroectoderm. Now, major part of the process of neurulation occurs during the fourth week when the neural plate undergoes a folding process and gives rise to the neural tube, which is the primordium of the CNS, that is the central nervous system. During the period of neurulation, the embryo is also referred to as neurella. Now, the neural plate is situated between the oropharyngeal membrane and the primitive node. So, here you can see this is the primitive node and here lies the oropharyngeal membrane. So, this neural plate, it lies in between these 2 points. Due to differential growth of the germ disc, the primitive node and the primitive streak gradually recedes in the caudal direction. Simultaneously, the neural plate increases in length and extends caudally. So here you can see it is exceeding in length and uh, extending caudally, but by the end of the third week of development, the mid region of the neural plate becomes invaginated to form a groove called the neural groove. So this is the groove formation. So the edges of the plate are invaginating, forming the neural groove, whereas the lateral margins of the neural plate become elevated to form the neural folds. As the groove deepens, the neural folds become concave and rotate around the neural groove. By the end of this, you can see here the neural folds are. By the end of third week, the neural folds approach each other in the midline and begin to fuse with each other in the early fourth week to convert the neural groove into the neural tube. As the neural folds fuse, you can see here the neural folds are fusing in the midline, then going cranially, and then fusing in the caudal direction. The junction between the neuroectoderm and the adjacent surface ectoderm is pulled dorsally, and the opposing margins of the surface ectoderm also meet and fuse. Subsequently, to this fusion, the neural tube separates from the surface ectoderm and sinks in the posterior body wall. I will show you in the next slide this phenomena. Fusion of the neural folds does not occur throughout the length of the neural groove simultaneously, as I have told you before. And the fusion begins in the middle of the embryo, at the level of fourth pair of somites, and progress cranially and caudally. The newly formed neural tube communicates with the amniotic cavity at its cranial and caudal end through large openings known as cranial neuropore and the caudal neuropore. This is the cranial neuropore, anterior neuropore, and this is the caudal or posterior neuropore. The neuropores gradually diminish in size and finally become closed. The cranial neuropore closes on 25th day, whereas the caudal neuropore closes on the 28th day of development. Closure of the neuropores completes the process of neurulation. Now it results in formation of a blind neuroectodermal tube called the neural tube, from which the central nervous system develops. You see here again the neural tube, the neural plate formation, and then the neural plate deepens into neural groove. Here you can see the neural groove, and then the edges of the neural groove, that is the neural pole, it comes it approaches each other in the midline and begin to fuse with each other in and the converting the neural groove into the neural tube. Now the neural folds they close, and between the junction between the neural folds fuse. The junction between the neuroectoderm and the adjacent surface ectoderm is pulled dorsally, and the opposing margins of surface ectoderm also meet and fuse. So here you can see the opposing margins of the surface ectoderm also meet and fuse here. Now this is the neural tube, and this is the surface ectoderm. Okay, now formation of neural crust cells. When the neural folds they elevate and begin to fuse with each other, as you can see here, these are the neural folds. They are elevating and begin to fusing each other with each other. The neuroectoderm at the lateral margin of each neural fold give rise to a special population of cells called the neural crust cells. Neural crust cells. As the neural tube closes and detaches from the surface ectoderm, the neural crust cells dissociate from their neighboring neuroectodermal cells and migrate in different directions in the body. You can see here the neural crust cells are separating from the neuroectoderm here, and they are migrating to form various structures in the body. Including the mesenchyme also. So major derivatives of the neural crust cells we will discuss in the next slide. Derivatives of neural crust cells, they include, first of all, ganglias in the body. Ganglia. So G for ganglia. Ganglia in the body, whether it is dorsal root ganglia, the sensory ganglia of peripheral nerve or the sensory ganglia of the cranial nerves, sensory ganglia of the cranial nerves, that is fifth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and 10th. Okay, so first is the dorsal root ganglia, which are associated with the spinal nerves, that is the peripheral nerves. Then the sensory ganglia associated with the cranial nerves. Then parasympathetic ganglia, which are present in the body, and the sympathetic ganglia. And the sympathetic chain. So these all ganglia, they are derived from the neural crust cells of the neuroectoderm, which are derived from the surface ectoderm. Then again G for glands. So 2G, we have two G's, G for ganglia and G for glands. So adrenal medulla and C cells of the thyroid gland, C cells of thyroid gland. So two glands. First of all the ganglia, then the glands, all the glands. The adrenal medulla and the C cells of the thyroid gland. Then cells, C for cells. So 2GC, C for cells. In cells we have the Schwann cells. Schwann cells, which are the cells producing the myelin sheath around the axons in the peripheral nervous system. So this is the Schwann cell. And then the odontoblast. These are the cells which are related to the teeth. And the melanocytes in the skin. So three cells, three C's, Schwann cells, odontoblast and melanocytes. Then we have the H, that is conotruncal region of the heart, conotruncal region of the heart, which forms the septum, interventricular and part of interventricular and interatrial septum. Then B is the bone, hyoid bone. Then comes the F. By F, we have the bones of the face, and skull, bones of the face and skull, smooth muscles of the vessels of face, and forebrain. Then the dermis of the face and neck. Dermis of face and neck. Then we have the cartilages. C for, again, two C's, 2G, two C's. One C is for cells, that is the Schwann cells, odontoblast and melanocytes in the skin. and then the cartilages of the larynx. And last but not the least, the meningeal layers, that is the pia mater and the arachnoid matter. These are the various derivatives of the neural crust cells, ganglia, all the ganglia in the body, that is sensory, sympathetic, parasympathetic, and sympathetic chain. Then the glands, the adrenal medulla, C cells of the thyroid gland. Then cells, Schwann cells, odontoblasts, melanocytes. Then in heart, the conotruncal region of the heart, which give rise to the parts of interventricular and atrial septum, and then the white bone, and then in face, it forms the bones of the face and skull, smooth muscles of the vessels of the face and forebrain, and dermis of the face and neck, and then the cartilages of the larynx and pia and arachnoid matter. So these are all derivatives of the neural crust cell. So the neural tube defects. The neural tube defects result when the neural tube closure fails to occur. If the neural tube fails to close in the cranial region, then most of the brain fails to form, and this defect is known as anencephaly. If the closure fails anywhere from the cervical region caudally, then this defect is known as spina bifida. The most common site for spina bifida to occur is in the lumbosacral region. Here you can see the lumbosacral region. This is the most common site, suggesting that closure process in this area may be more susceptible to genetic or environmental factors. Anencephaly is a lethal defect, and most of these cases are diagnosed prenatally and pregnancy is terminated. Children with spina bifida lose a degree of neurological function based on the spinal cord level of the lesion and its severity. Now, occurrence of these types of defects is common and varies by different regions. For example, here given the overall rates in the United States is 1 in 1,000 births, but in North and South Carolina, the rate is 1 in 500 births. In parts of China, rate as high as 1 in 200 births have been recorded. Now, various genetic and environmental factors account for the variability. 70% of the defects can be prevented if women take 400 microgram of folic acid daily, beginning 3 months prior to conception and continuing throughout pregnancy. Because 50% of pregnancies are unplanned, it is recommended that all women of childbearing age take a multivitamin containing 400 microgram of folic acid daily. If a woman has had a child with a neural tube defect, or if there is a history of such defects in her family, it is recommended that she take 400 micrograms of folic acid daily and then 1000 microgram per day when she tries to become pregnant.